Kıymetli konuşmacılarımızın yer aldığı Uluslararası İşbirliği ve İnovasyon, küresel geleceği şekillendiren ortaklıklar konulu panelle devam ediyor efendim programımız. Küresel zorluklarla başa çıkmanın anahtarı, inovasyon ve diplomasi arasındaki güçlü işbirliğinden geçiyor. Bu panelde önemli diplomatik temsilciler, temsil ettikleri ülkelerin inovasyon stratejilerini ve bu stratejilerin diplomasi aracılığıyla nasıl desteklendiğini anlatacaklar bizlere. Panelin moderatörlüğünü tarihçi yazar Profesör Doktor Sayın Emrah Safa Gürkan yapacak, alkışlarla sahneye davet ediyoruz. Hocam hoş geldiniz.
Merhaba.
Buyurun. Ve konuşmacılarımızı takdim etmek istiyorum. İsveç İstanbul Başkonsolosu Sayın Johanna Strokoist alkışlarla sahneye geliyor. Çin Halk Cumhuriyeti İstanbul Başkonsolos Yardımcısı Sayın Shang Qian yine alkışlarla huzurlarınıza geliyor. Ve Amerika Birleşik Devletleri İstanbul Başkonsolos Yardımcısı Sayın Fleur Cowan alkışlarla sahneye geliyor. Buyursunlar efendim. Hoş geldiniz. Sözü kıymetli moderatörümüze ve konuşmacılarımıza bırakıyorum. İyi seyirler diliyorum.
Well, welcome everybody. I don't know if I should do the first part, like introductory part in English or in Turkish, but like also, anyway, I will do it in English just for the sake of convenience. Today we have three very honorable guests, and we'll talk about diplomacy and innovation and how international cooperation plays a role in fostering innovation. We have Johanna Strömquist with us, Consul General of Sweden. We have Shang Qian, Deputy Consulate General of People's Republic of China. I said it correctly, right? And we have Fleur Cowan, Deputy Chief Consulate of the United States of America. And thank you for being us today. I will cut it short. It's not in my nature to talk a little bit, but today I will force myself. I will try to be a good moderator, and I will, pose questions to our honorable guests. My first question is: we live in an age of innovation. Now, wherever you look, we are in, Türkiye Innovation Week. Everybody's talking about innovation, and you are diplomats, and your job is to foster cooperation. But I'm a historian, but I'm also trained in international relations. So there is this possibility of cooperation, but also possibility of conflict in international relations. So innovation somehow requires some sort of cooperation, not only between states, but also between supranational organizations. So do you believe in the future, the need, because now it's profitable to cooperate, because innovation is required, and it's in the interest of the states to cooperate. Do you think that this need for cooperation will bring peace and harmony and all this Bismarckian realpolitik? Do you believe that it's being replaced by a much more peaceable, amiable, cooperative international order? I try to speak as little as possible, so I know it's a big yes.
So the short answer is yes, I do believe in the future. I think that's a diplomatic disease. We always believe in the future, and that's why we're doing what we are doing. But I think no doubt we live in a moment in the world with huge challenges. Mm-hmm. We see it both in terms of climate change and the effects it's having on the world. We see it every day on TV from Europe, from the United States and elsewhere, right now as we speak, with extreme weather, floods, situations that we have brought upon ourselves because of the way that we are acting. And we're also experiencing economic challenges. We have seen, not to mention here, extreme inflation over the last years. And we're also suffering from polarization within countries, between countries, disinformation. We are suffering from organized crime and terrorism, using modern technology to undermine the system that we have built up together. And we also see devastating wars in our proximity and beyond the horrific level of human suffering and tragedy that this is bringing, it's also interrupting trade flows and making it more difficult also to have the open economies that we are used to. So this is challenging the system that has been in place basically since the Second World War, our world order, and of course, I mean, like I said, these challenging times, we can all see them. So then the question is, of course, what is the solution? And I think no doubt the solution is more innovation, because I think the positive side of this is that we have created this world that we are living in by the way we have acted, the way we are living, and by that, of course, we can also turn it around with innovation. But for that innovation to be efficient, we need to work together because these challenges are crossing borders. It's not something that we can easily change. One country cannot handle let's say the challenges to our environment on its own, to climate. We have to cooperate. And we also have limited resources, as we know, so we have to use these limited resources in an efficient way to make sure there is something left for the next generation. I think there are quite a number of young people here at this event and universities, and of course I think it's our responsibility to do what we can to make sure that not generations in a very distant future, but really the next generation, for them to have planet Earth to live on. We have to work together. And there are a lot of young people demanding this change, and that also gives me hope. So that's another reason to see that together we can, with innovative ways of working together, but also through innovation, we can improve living conditions globally when it comes to education, health, and of course business and market solutions, electrification, digitalization, food, basically all areas that touch upon our lives. We need to cooperate in. And in many of these fields, I would say that cooperation is not a choice, it's a necessity. I really want to underline that. And I think when we understand that, that's also when we can feel some hope, when we see that collaboration can create bridges, and we can find mutual interest, and by that we can also decrease the risk of conflict and of diplomatic incidents, and instead create stronger diplomatic ties. Sweden, for example, is a small country, especially compared to the countries of my fellow panelists. So for us, it's essential. It's essential to have an open world economy, free trade, cooperation, because for us it becomes extremely clear that we cannot handle these challenges on our own, but we also happy to contribute to change in the world. And we're one of the main donors globally, one of the few countries, I'm proud to say, that fulfills the UN goal of giving 0.7 of our GDP in development cooperation. But we also spend 3% of our GDP on... How many percent? 3% of our GDP on research.
3%?
3%, which is quite high if you look on the average in the world. And Sweden is year after year ranking as one of the most innovative countries in the world. Last year ranked again as the second most innovative country in the world. And this is we have a long history of innovation starting in the 1800s. Actually, this week is the Nobel week. Nobel Prizes are being handed out.
It's coming up, right?
Exactly. So as you might know, Alfred Nobel who's a founder of this prize, was himself an innovator. So he's one of these examples.
He was one of the greatest innovators of the 19th century, actually.
Yes. So and left a huge fortune after him, and that's what then has become the Nobel Prize Fund. So just to mention quickly also some of the innovations that are happening right now in Sweden. One is what we call green steel.
What is that?
Green steel.
Green steel?
Yes, so we're developing a way to actually produce steel without using coal. And this is, I mean, usually you need a huge amount of coal to produce steel.
Tea, so like the tea we drink?
No, steel.
Steel, okay,
yeah, steel.
Green steel.
Green
right.
steel, not green tea.
Okay,
no.
I was like, Sweden and tea, how do you put them together?
No,
okay.
Green steel, which you know we use for cars and other very important modern products. And that will be revolutionary. Once we create this green steel, that will really change the climate in the world. Another one is that we are now producing textile from trees.
You produce textile from the trees.
Exactly. So, and also recycling and turning old textile into paper. So this is a circular way of handling the resources that we have. And there's actually now there's a bit of an ad here. We have a small exhibition out here at this event about how the fashion industry in Sweden has contributed to innovation and doing it together, private sector together with the public sector and academia. So of course, to manage to move forward, we all work on individually, but I think to conclude, we need to work together. And for us, the EU is one of those platforms, and many of the programs also, like Horizon Europe, which is one of the research and innovation programs of the EU, as well as Eureka, that is also focusing, it's a platform for innovation. Turkey is also part of it. And I think also for Horizon Europe, Canada just recently joined, so it's not only EU member states, but also other countries that want to join. I mean, yes, the answer is I'm hopeful. There is a path forward if we work together. But no doubt, I mean, to turn around this dire situation, it's not a choice. Like I said, it's not a choice. It's a necessity.
You repeated
that, yes.
It's not a choice. It's a must.
It's a must. We have to work together to
It's
turn.
not a maybe. It should be done.
And it has to be done now.
It has to be done now. Okay. Now, we talked about Sweden, but you know, without China, any problem could not be solved because it's such a huge country with a lot of people, with a huge population and a huge area size. So where does China stand vis-a-vis what I say? Because it's important, and it's a country we don't. Okay, I'll cut it short.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So it's very honored to be here to see some remarks about the innovation cooperation, and I listened carefully about the remarks of our Honorable Consul General of Sweden. That's very great. And my English is not as good as these two beautiful, elegant ladies. Even my Chinese is better. But forgive me, so I'll try my best. Okay. Thank you for your question. This is a very important question. If I am correct, in 2015, and the United Nations have adopted 17 sustainable goals. Development goals covering 3 main areas, including economic, social, and environmental. And I think it's paved the directions for other countries to how to develop, how to do their sustainable development. In recent years, despite multiple challenges such as the development imbalancing and the COVID pandemic, but innovation cooperation has become an increasingly important ways of implementing the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and its value and rule are gradually coming to the fore. So I would like to make 2 points on how innovation cooperation could play transformative roles. First is level is at the transnational level, as international level. Jointly cooperation at present profound challenges of a skill unseen in a century. And global economic recovery is unbalanced, and the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development faces new challenges. We should continue to uphold people-centered philosophy of development, adhere to win-win cooperation, openness, and inclusiveness, and further strengthen innovation cooperation transnationally. I recall that at the 15th annual meeting of new champions of World Economic Forums held in Dalian in June this year, a broad consensus has reached by all the parties to seize new opportunities for industrial transformation through innovation cooperation, and to explore ways for development through innovation cooperation. We firmly oppose and some countries recklessly suppress the development of China's high-tech enterprises and even enact laws to hint, even ban high technology exchanges and cooperation between China and other countries. The second level is about the national level. And the third plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of Communist Party of China, which was held in this July, decided to step up efforts to develop a complete domestic demand system, which is an essential requirement for China to establish, we call it dual circulation development pattern, in which domestic economic cycle plays a leading role, while international economic cycle remains its extensions and a supplement, and is of great significance for promoting the high-quality development of the economy. In recent years, we have continuously reinforced the principal position of enterprises in innovation, built innovation union with close cooperation from upstream to downstream, promoted innovation and integration of industries, universities, and research institutes, and accelerated the transformation of scientific and technological achievements into the productive forces, which has provided important support for the cultivation and development of new quality productive forces. And China is willing to work with the international community, including our Turkey side, to unswervingly promote high-level opening up and innovation cooperation, especially to further strengthen multilateral scientific and technological cooperation with the countries, jointly build the Belt and Road Initiative, and to build a mutual beneficial innovation union so as to provide the world with more certainty through our own stability, more new opportunities through our new development. Thank you.
Thank you. And the United States of America.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Sevgili arkadaşlar, it's a real pleasure to be here. I think my colleagues have given a wonderful overview of the importance of the issue for the global community. But although it's an age of innovation, innovation has been a feature of human development since the dawn of time. Right now, in my opinion, the change we're seeing is that states and international organizations, the private sector and individuals are more networked than ever before and more able to collaborate and cooperate on shared challenges. In 2023 at the UK AI Summit, Vice President Harris said, "Technology with global impact requires global action." And diplomacy is also about connecting people, creating partnerships, sharing new ideas. And here in Turkey, our embassy and consulates have a range of interesting partnerships and programs on innovation and technology that really connect Americans and Turks on a range of technologies from cybersecurity to climate-smart agriculture, biotechnology, AI, and clean energy. And I'm going to talk hopefully a bit later about some of these great exchange programs, because I know there are a lot of students in the audience. But one of our most interesting projects here in Turkey, in partnership with Kader Has University, we founded a project called She for Cyber. This increases the capacity and competitiveness of women in cybersecurity to help reduce gender bias in the field. Like in a lot of technology, if it's all developed by one gender, it's not going to serve the needs of all genders equally. She for Cyber supported more than 100 Turkish women, I think something about 120 different cybersecurity women professionals from 18 cities across Turkey. And it created a network, it provided mentorship, education, and internship opportunities. So I think as we talk about innovation and technology, and we get down to the micro level of what we're doing here as diplomats in Turkey, education is key. And many of you may not know, but the oldest American school founded outside of the United States is right here in Istanbul, Robert College, founded in 1863. Our Fulbright Commission, bilateral, marked 75 years of sending American students to Turkey to study and Turkish students to the United States. I think since 1949, we're at 6,500. It's not enough. We really want to expand that in the future because this, for us, is the role of diplomats and governments, connecting. You smart people in the audience, private sector, you've got the cool tech. We've got the introductions and the connections and the way to build those bridges.
Well, also one of the greatest universities in Turkey, Boğaziçi University, Bosphorus University, once belonged to the Robert College, which was again founded by the Americans. Anyway, so we talk about all these. So how will it work? Like, what kind of transformative role will these innovative collaborations play in achieving all these sustainable development goals determined by the UN?
No, I think innovation and collaboration will be key. We need to speed up and redouble our efforts to reach the ambitious goals of the Sustainable Development Goals at the target date 2030. It's actually not that far away any longer.
Yeah, it's actually coming up, right? Yeah.
No. So we need to mobilize our resources, again, work together, and has been highlighted by others, bringing together also the private sector with the public sector. I think this is actually part of the SDGs, of the Sustainable Development Goals, to involve the private sector much more. And we have seen, we have actually seen in Sweden that the private sector is quite keen to be part of, apart from the fact that they already work closely with academia, with researchers, of course, to create their own innovations, but they also realize that it's actually beneficial in terms of competitiveness to be part of this. It's to be in the forefront, to be the first companies that actually become sustainable in their field becomes a selling point. So this is, I think, in a way in Sweden we see this, that the companies they are running, they're competing to be the first ones to actually be part of this. And all this needs to go hand in hand. In investments, of course, regulations, that's part of the public sector, and global cooperation. Green and digital transition is something that we talk about a lot, and I think in all these areas we need to see a lot of innovations, changes, and working together to actually reach those goals. And I think sometimes we look at the world as that we all have to follow the same trajectory. I think one innovation that we perhaps don't talk enough about is when the mobile phones appeared on the market. You know, there were countries, not continents, who actually skipped one step. They didn't have to have the telephone poles, the lines drawn.
They went directly to
mobile phones. And I think this is what we will see with innovation speeding up. This also means that countries who are struggling with poverty, who are lagging behind, will also be able to take a jump sometimes. And I think this is, of course, part of the Sustainable Development Goals, because they're about the whole world, as you mentioned.
Creating this whole much more compact world in cooperation.
Exactly. So, I think this is it's already happening. We see it in all fields, but it needs to become even more. As I mentioned before, Sweden is one of the world's most generous donors, and of course we look at this because we want our taxpayers' money that goes to support other countries to be used as efficient as possible, and their innovation will be key, but also to create strong partnerships, to have countries working together. Together with Zambia, Sweden is proud to have co-facilitated the Global Digital Compact that is a part of SDGs. So we're also looking to have partners in all over the world. I mean, in my first intervention I talked a lot about the EU, because that's of course our first and most important arena for international cooperation. But the UN is of course extremely important when it comes to finding these partnerships that goes beyond the EU, as we are well aware, all of us. Innovation, artificial intelligence was also mentioned. I think this would be, of course, a huge leap. We're now, I think, struggling a little bit too. Some of us are a little bit scared about artificial intelligence, but clearly that will be a game changer. And I think this will also help countries to take that jump in many areas. So, I mean, and in combination, of course, with fighting corruption, dealing with some of the issues that hamper development. But innovation, for sure, is key. When we have these kind of complex challenges that we talked about before, we also need to get together to pool the resources, because these challenges will not be easy to handle. And in Sweden, we have we've been working with this concept that we call quadruple helix. Quadruple helix. So basically, it's like from a triple helix, which is to have the private and public sector and academia working together, but also bringing in civil society to make sure that these innovations and the investments that are made also are used for challenges that we see in our societies. So, and I think. So it starts actually at the lowest level within our countries to cooperate internally, and then of course spread this to have a global cooperation where we bring in all parts of society. So yeah, I think it's clear to have cooperation at all levels to handle these issues will be essential.
I think your emphasis on bringing the private sector into society is already underway. Like 20 years ago, a concept like externalities or ESG would be unheard of in the 80s and 90s. So even now, even if in the field of academia, people in the realm of economics are developing concepts in order to demonstrate the beneficial side of responsible corporate behavior to the private sector, and also again with civil society compared to like 20, 30 years ago. And back in China, once again, we are with Mr. Devi, the Consul General.
Thank you. At present, the world is full of turbulence and uncertainty, and humanity is facing multiple challenges such as protectionism and secularization have affected the global economy, while unilateralism and bloc politics have impacted the international system. We all know that the Ukraine crisis continues, and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict marks its first anniversary. China looks forward to strengthening international cooperation of innovation to bring stability and positive energy into world peace and stability. Meanwhile, we cannot ignore the challenges of so-called new frontiers such as AI, artificial intelligence, and climate changes, and polar space to the world peace. For example, the weaponization of UAV or drones, that have been used in the hotspot conflict proves that some high-tech have the risks of being abused. Chinese government attached great importance on this issue. We published the Global AI Governance Initiative in March of last year, called on all countries to enhance information exchange and technological cooperation on the governance of AI. We should work together to prevent risks and develop AI governance frameworks, norms, and standards based on broad consensus so as to make AI technologies more secure, reliable, controllable, and equitable, which fully prove that it's imperative to enhance the governance of the negative impact of creativity, which is decisively meaningful for the national security. My second point is that if we wanted to play the formative roles of the creation, the private sector, the government should cooperate together. I remember when I was in the Washington DC, I was in the Chinese embassy in Washington DC during 2008 and to 2013. By then, I found that the credit card was used very commonly, which I think is very convenient for my daily life. But when I returned to China in 2013, I found that Alipay, WeChat, the pay is very much more convenient than the credit card. You even don't have to bring your credit card. You just have to bring your own cell phones. And when you buy some things, you just show your QR code to the shop, and you can pay. You can buy everything. So we have to emphasize the cooperation between the private sector and the government to make the technology much more convenient to the people of the data. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
I definitely agree. I think innovations like AI are poised to support employment and education, healthcare, financial literacy, and in that way support to contribute to achieving a wide range of the Sustainable Development Goals. I think one study estimated AI alone could positively affect 80% of the SDGs. We're seeing incredible innovations in food, health, water, energy distribution, reaching environmental goals by increasing economic efficiencies through smart cities, autonomous vehicles, smart appliances. All these little efficiencies add up to real achievements. Secretary Blinken, of course, attended the UN General Assembly event on AI and how we can use AI towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And we've now announced, I think, 33 million in foreign assistance on AI development. And 10 million of that is specifically focused on expanding access, because it has to be about access and inclusivity. It can't just be a developed country technology. We need to make sure that all countries are able to benefit from these, particularly if we want to really achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, where unfortunately, as we all know, have a long way to go. The other part of this is also that these networks are safe and trustworthy and advance our human rights and development priorities. So the U.S. has also been involved in some initiatives, also launched UNGA, that build on President Biden's executive order on a safe, secure, and trustworthy development and use of AI. And this goes back to what Johanna said about some of the concerns some of us have about the uses of these technologies. We're also doing some programming here in Turkey. The Atlantic Council is a great partner of ours, and in September we just did a workshop with a lot of great Turkish participants on AI here, and we hope to do some more in the future, because I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to be had internationally on how we're going to use these tools most effectively in a transparent, inclusive, and safe way.
Thank you. Now, we talk about the objective of these Sustainable Development Goals is to reduce global inequality. on a global scale, we have a lot of problems, but probably the most important one is this: the difference, economic difference between the underdeveloped South, as it is called, and the developed North, or maybe developed countries and the underdeveloped countries. Do you believe not only innovation, but also easier access to information? Like this is something new that comes with the internet. Like in the past, I remember the reason why I went to the US to have a doctorate, because there were many good libraries. Today it doesn't make any sense, because now you can find books online, you can find all the information. So innovation on the one side, access to information on the other. To what extent do you believe that this will reduce global inequalities? Is it just a chimera, something that could not be achieved? Or is it possible that it could be reduced in a meaningful way?
No, absolutely. And I think we tend to forget that the world, up until actually the pandemic 2020, was developing in an extremely positive way. There was the Swedish researcher Hans Rosling who made this his life mission to tell people about this, because interestingly, the way we perceive the world is more or less the way the world looked in the 60s. So he was asking people all around the world, what's your perception of poverty, of number of wars, all this hardship that we're suffering? And he saw that it was completely clear, whoever you asked around the world, they would always think the world is a much worse place than it actually was.
There's always a pessimist there, right?
Because, you know, when you look at the news, it's always about disasters. It's never about, oh, now there's peace in another part of the world, people are happily, you know, the children are going to school, everyone is having a good life. That's not news.
Yeah.
So the only actually answer that people got wrong was about climate and environment, because that was actually worse than people thought it was, which is a bit alarming. But everything else was much better. With the pandemic, this was slightly disrupted. Now, after that, we're also seeing a slight increase in terms of poverty and also in terms of wars. But still, we are much, much better off than we've ever been in the history of you know, as we know it, of human life on this planet. So I think that's important to remember, and of course that is due to the fact that we have more information, we have more innovations, and we can easily share it, more technology, which means that the knowledge that we have is not for a selected few who have access to libraries, but everyone can actually access this information. So
you're an optimist view of the future, like you're optimist about.
Optimistic, but of course also with this comes new challenges, and one that we have looked at a lot is, of course, disinformation. I mean, when you can reach people very quickly and easily, you can also spread both deliberate disinformation or misinformation. And I mean, I think it's so. Most of us are spending some time on social media, and it's quite interesting what you find there, right? I mean, me as a diplomat living in foreign countries, are you nodding? You know what I'm going to say. No, but I find a lot of things about my country when I live in foreign countries that I, as a Swede, know that this is not true. But of course, it's close enough to the truth for people in other countries to believe it's true.
Just true enough to be believable, right?
Absolutely.
A little bit true,
or in
not total rubbish.
Exactly, or in line with the perception that you might have. Yeah. So, and I think this is a huge challenge that we have to keep an eye on.
That's a very good one.
And also, of course, you have, it's not only states who use this information to undermine other states, organizations and systems, but we also have terrorists, we have organized criminal networks using these communication lines. I mean, in Europe, for example, and also in cooperation with others, with technology, and it's been possible to actually detect or crack the encrypted ways that criminal networks are communicating with each other, and they've been so comfortable at thinking that no one would ever find out, so they're openly, ordering murders of people, saying how much they will pay for it. We always have to be a step ahead, but I think in general, going back to your question, yes, the ease of sharing information for sure will benefit the whole world, but we just have to keep up and make sure that it actually is used for the right
for the right purpose.
For the right purposes, exactly.
Well, actually, he got an Alfred Nobel. It's like the invention of TNT. When he first came up with TNT, he wanted to do something good for the people, but then it was used for all other purposes, and hence Nobel Prize. I think it's a very good point. When first social media came to our life on the internet, everybody started singing the same song. It's going to make our life easier. It's going to make people freer. And that has happened, but on the other side, there's also a darker side. It could actually be used for other purposes. It could facilitate conflict as well as cooperation. So it's still, the jury is still out there, whether in the long run, how we as a humanity are going to use technology. So it's up to us, I say, and then please go ahead.
Sure, innovation is an important driving force for economic globalization. And as you mentioned, the access to information also plays an important role in development, democracy, and equality. And I recall that on October 2019, the 74th General Assembly of the United Nations declared September 28th each year as the International Day of Universal Access to Information, called the IDUAI, which is evidence that the international community attaches great importance on access to information. And China has always devoted itself on international cooperation of innovation and digital information technology, and we believe that development problems can only be solved by development. In recent years, China is a major data production and consumption country, has actively participated in international cooperation in this field and international rules making, injecting new momentum to the development and prosperity of the global digital economy. Innovation and easy access to information do benefit in reducing global inequality between developed and less developed countries. China has also made active efforts to promote the development of less developed regions in the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative and South-to-South cooperation. At the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation held in September this year, President Xi Jinping proposed to join hands with Africa to promote 6 modernizations and proposed that in the next 3 years, China and the African side join hands to promote modernizing the trade, prosperity, industrial chain cooperation, connectivity, green development, and other 10 partnership actions, which includes promoting the digital infrastructure development in Africa to create a China-Africa Forum on peaceful use of nuclear technology, to establish together 30 joint laboratories, and to collaborate on satellite, remote sensing, and lunar and deep space exploration, aiming to help with green development in Africa. China is also engaged in innovative cooperation with Turkey. China, we have SPIC in Shanghai Electric Powers, China's largest investment project in Turkey is Hunutulu hybrid power plant. And the plant is equipped with 46 MW photovoltaic modules. The electricity generated by the system is directly connected to the power plant's auxiliary power system, giving full play to the advantage of the hybrid power plants. Self-generation for self-use and surplus power to the grid, saving costs and effectively reducing carbon emissions. The power plant also used the technology of cooling tower and chimney unification technique and flue gas desulfurization. The total power generation of the Haliç power plant in 2023 was 10.9 gigawatts, accounting for 3.36% of Turkey's annual power generation, and the utilization hours for the facility were 8,306 hours. In the future, we are also going to strengthen cooperation with the Turkish side in innovation and other related fields with the aim of fostering mutual benefit for the two countries and peoples, and to jointly write a new chapter in the Chinese-Turkish strategic cooperative relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to wrap up with you today.
Sounds
so,
good.
yeah,
Well,
last question.
Sounds good.
The last answer will be yours.
I'm very excited. I'm about to get kind of nerdy. I hope that's okay if I get
Go
really
ahead.
excited about agricultural tech.
Okay.
And when we talk about innovation and reducing inequality, new technologies like soil nutrient mapping are just unbelievable. I mean, a technology that allows a farmer to map the chemical composition of their land and then determine just how much fertilizer or water is needed for their crops is just amazing. So this is the kind of thing I get super excited about, because I think it really is going to build on clean energy, it's going to build on information access, it's going to solve food security. We, of course, in America, we have a Department of Agriculture, and they have some very interesting programs, and we just took some Turkish scientists and innovators and people involved in agriculture, farmers and landowners, to the US to look at some of these incredible technologies that fuse all of the aspects of tech we've been talking about. So, for example, my colleague talked about clean energy production. There are new agrivoltaic grazing systems where you can use land not only for grazing your livestock, but also for producing solar energy. There are new, again, precision techniques to conserve water, to improve soil health for crop production, climate modeling so that we can help farmers prepare for the impacts of this terrible climate change that we've seen around the world, and new sustainable forestry practices. So this, again, these exchanges are what we do as a government. This isn't our technology, but what we do is we make sure that the right Turkish leaders in the field get connected with universities and experts in the US. We have a fellowship called the Borlaug Fellowship, and we have another program, an exchange called the Cochrane, where Turkish academics can go to the US, study in a research center, an American university, really connect with partners to build on research and development. And then when they come back here, the American professional gets to come to Turkey and build on that exploration. So I think these connections we're building on all the areas of tech we've talked about are how we're going to be able to work together internationally to find some solutions.
So the Borland Scholarship and the Cochrane,
yeah.
Can you just so that there are lots of students here? Maybe
Absolutely. So the two agriculture ones we have are the Borlaug Fellowship and the Cochrane Fellowship. There's more information, of course, on our website.
On the embassy website,
absolutely,
on the consulate
yeah.
website, they can find.
These are specific to agriculture, but of course we have a range of academic opportunities out there, and also programs right here in Turkey. So it's all really cool stuff.
Okay, yeah, I think it's very important also to share this kind of information between institutions, where because in Turkey is just a new player in this field, and with, you know, innovation, with events like Innovation Week, it will spread awareness among the general populace. Thank you for answering our questions, answering my questions, and being our guest. And also thank you for listening to us with patience for almost an hour. The panel is up, so now you're free to go to lunch, but I believe that somebody should be on the stage to announce something. Okay, I don't know what, yeah.
Çok teşekkür ediyoruz kıymetli konuşmacılarımıza, panelistlerimize ve moderatörlerimize. Kendilerine günün anısına plaket takdimimiz olacak. Plaket takdimini gerçekleştirmek üzere Türkiye İhracatçılar Meclisi Başkan Vekilimiz Sayın Kutlu Karabelioğlu'nu alkışlarınızla sahneye davet ediyorum. Buyursunlar. Fotoğraf çekimi için plaket takdimi esnasında ön tarafa rica edebilir miyim? Biraz daha öne alabiliriz sizi. Efendim buyurun. Bir de toplu fotoğraf alalım. Ve bu dolu dolu panel için, dolu dolu konuşmalar için bir kez daha büyük alkışlarınızı rica ediyoruz. Kıymetli panelistlerimizi ve moderatörümüzü Sayın Başkan Vekilimizle birlikte alkışlarla yerlerine uğurluyoruz. Çok kısa bir aramız var. O aranın ardından sizleri tekrar burada bekliyor olacağız. Tüm hızımızla devam edeceğiz efendim. Teşekkür ediyoruz.